Lesson 13.1, right triangle trigonometry. Last year in geometry, you dealt with some of the right triangle trigonometry, sine, cosine, and tangent. We're going to work with that this year, but we're going to add 3 more with it. When you're first going into solve any right triangle, as you did in geometry and algebra, you need to find the missing side in a right triangle using the Pythagorean theorem, which says leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. So x squared plus 4 squared equals 11 squared. Simplifying up and doing your algebra, x is equal to the square root of 105. Leave it like that unless you can simplify the radical. Now, SOHCAHTOA is what we talked about last year. So is the sine opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent's the opposite over adjacent, how we get SOHCAHTOA to remember. So when I'm looking for the sine of theta, we're going to use the side opposite, which is 4, over the hypotenuse, 11. If you can simplify the fraction, you do. Cosine of theta is the side adjacent, which is the square root of 105, over the hypotenuse, which is 11. And the tangent of theta is the side opposite, over the side adjacent. But from chapter 5, we cannot keep a radical in the denominator, so we have to simplify, and when we simplify, we get 4 square root of 105 over 105. There's your 3 trig functions. Now we're going to go into the other 3. Cosecant is the opposite, or not the opposite, the inverse of sine. So we use the reciprocal, 11/4. Secant and cosecant are reciprocals, so we use the reciprocal there. But again, that radical of 105 can't be in the denominator, so I simplify up. I get 11 square root of 105 over 105. And then the cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent, so we flip it, and we get a square root of 105 over 4. So once you know the 3 trig functions, you automatically know the other 3 that go with them. Now when we look at problem 23 and 26 that's shown here, it says write an equation involving sine, cosine, or tangent that can be used to find x. Then solve the equation, round measures of the sides to the nearest tenth, and measures of the angles to the nearest degree. Always read your directions to see how they're going to have you do any rounding. So on this one, I am given the x. My angle down here is 54. The 17.8 is opposite. The x is the hypotenuse, as we said. So opposite hypotenuse is sine. So to write my equation, I'm going to take sine of 54 over 1 equals the side opposite, 17.8, over the x, which is the hypotenuse. Cross multiply, I get x times the sine of 54 is equal to 17.8. Dividing both sides by the sine of 54, I will find my x value. And make sure you're checking your calculator, make sure you're in the degree mode. And when I simplify up, x is equal to 22.0 units. You are dealing with a triangle, so you need to label the sides by units. And because it says the nearest tenth, I have to put the 0.0. Now the second problem here, 26 that I have, again I'm given an angle. The side opposite the angle is 16. The hypotenuse is the side of 22. Again, it's sine, so if I write my equation, sine of x is equal to the side opposite over the side of the hypotenuse. And now I need to find the angle measure, so from our geometry days, in this chapter, we're going to do our inverse sine. Second sine on your calculator of 16 divided by 22. And when I simplify it up, x is equal to 47 degrees. Don't forget to use the degree symbol. That's going to make a difference later on in the chapter. The last one I want to do for this section is solving a triangle by using the given measurements. Always use the given measurements to solve it. Round measures of sides to the nearest tenth and measures of the angles to the nearest degree. Remember when you were labeling a triangle, side A is opposite of angle A, side B is opposite of angle B. So make sure you're carefully labeling it. So A is equal to 4 on this one. C is equal to 9. So I can go and find B by using the Pythagorean theorem. So B squared plus 4 squared is equal to 9 squared. Again, your leg squared plus your leg squared equals your hypotenuse squared. I have B squared plus 16 is equal to 81. So when I simplify up, I have B is equal to the square root of 65. But because it's set to the nearest tenth, I need to round to the nearest tenth. So B is going to be equal to 8.1 units. There's the first answer I need. Solving the triangle, I need to go back and look and find all the angles. We already have angle C as the 90 degree. So I want to find the measure of angle A. The measure of angle A is found by using the side opposite of A, which is the 4, and the side of the hypotenuse, which is 9. Opposite of hypotenuse is sine, so the inverse sine of 4 divided by 9. Simplify that up to the nearest degree, I get 26 degrees for the measure of angle A. Measure of angle B is found by doing the same thing. I'm going to use the 4, which is adjacent to B, the 9, which is the hypotenuse, so this time I'm going to use my inverse cosine of 4 divided by 9, and when I simplify that up, I come up with 64 degrees. Always make sure your angles add up to 180. Now that's not the only way. You could have taken 180 minus your 90 minus your 26 and got the 64.